The man's eyes were covered with gauze, but he can see the necklace in the nurse's dress. He could even see the worm and the apple in the patient's hand through the walls. He thought he was hallucinating, but the next moment he saw a mole on the corner of the doctor's mouth. To verify what he saw, he asked the doctor to take off his mask. The result was exactly what he saw. The man's name is David. He used to work in a pawn shop. When he went back to the shop at night to get his mobile phone, he met a gang of robbers. During the fight, a broken jade stone accidentally scratched his eye. He fell into a coma. When he woke up again, he didn't realize anything special. He walked out of the ward as if nothing had happened. David was puzzled by the stares of the patients around him, but he didn't think much of it. Soon he went to the bathroom and saw himself in the mirror. He realized that his eyes had been covered with gauze, but he could see clearly through the gauze, even more clearly than before his eyes were injured. David didn't know what was going on, so he had to leave the hospital. But when he returned to the pawn shop, he learned that he had been sacked by his boss. Despite the mediation of Abe, an industry veteran, nothing could be done. Looking at David, who was still standing in a daze, Abe gave him a piece of his own jade to comfort him. However, David was shocked to realize that he could see through the jade to its past. From the time it was made in the Guangxu period to the time it was in Abe's hands, he could see it all clearly. He wanted to tell Abel what he saw, but he didn't know how to explain, because he didn't believe him. At night when David got home, his friend Matt mysteriously brought out a treasure. He said it was a family heirloom. David took it and looked at it. He could see the whole process right through the snuff bottle. It's a modern-day assembly line craft, but Matt didn't believe David. So the next day they went to the antique market. Matt wanted to sell his snuff bottle, but the owner took one look at it and kicked them out. The two of them went around the market and no one would even buy it. Until at the last stall the owner held out his 5 fingers. Matt thinks he's finally met someone who knows what he's talking about. But then the owner said he'd give him $5, and he's giving him the bag with the snuff bottle in it. They were just about to leave when David saw the owner pull out a gourd. When he looked at it, there was a red color underneath the black gourd. He knew this gourd was something special, so he wanted to buy the gourd. A man came to the antique market for the first time. He doesn't like all kinds of antiques, but he only likes the gourd of the owner, which contains grasshoppers. So he tentatively asked the owner if it was for sale. The owner said he didn't sell them because he kept them for fun. When he heard that the owner thought he was buying a caddisfly, David didn't directly tell him. He hesitated for a moment, but the boss changed his mind. He said if you really want to buy it, he'll sell it to you for $2,000. David was about to reach for it but was stopped by his companion. Matt chastised him for buying a piece of shit. Unbeknownst to him, this was no ordinary gourd. It's black with a dark red color underneath, but the owner doesn't know what he's talking about. When he saw them leaving, he called them back. The owner changes his mind and says he'll sell it for $600. Matt tried to haggle, but David took the $600 out of his pocket and handed it to the owner. At that moment, a rich girl approached him. She also saw the black gourd in the owner's hand. She was saddened to learn that the gourd had already been bought. The rich man wanted to take this opportunity to win the beauty's heart, so he offered to buy the gourd for double the price. But David didn't want to sell it, because he knew he had more than that. Matt could see that the two of them were not the same, so he wanted to take advantage of the situation to make a fortune. He stuck out his fingers and said he wanted $50,000. The tycoon may be rich, but he's not stupid. He knew he was deliberately asking for a lot of money, but he didn't care if it was just to make a pretty girl laugh. They all thought David had got a bargain. Matt even implied that he should sell the gourd, but David said no, and he told them that the gourd wasn't black, it was red. Just as the crowd is mocking David's eyesight, Abe, a veteran of the antique world, walks in. He was also interested in the black gourd. Abel looked at it carefully and asked David if he had any plans to sell it. He was willing to offer him $100,000. When he heard the price, the tycoon couldn't help but laugh. He didn't think the black gourd was worth $100,000, but Abe said it wasn't black, it was red. Seeing that the tycoon didn't believe him, Abel asked his boss to bring in copper oil and fine sandpaper. Then under the shocked eyes of the crowd, the black gourd was gradually revealed to be its original color after being wiped by the copper oil. I didn't realize it was really red. And this black gourd is no ordinary thing. It's a rare gourd used by the royal family in the Guangxu period. The boss, who was watching, regretted it very much. The tycoon didn't hesitate to offer $300,000 for the gourd, and the owner of the stall couldn't help himself. He told David that he would buy the gourd back for 600,000 yuan, but as soon as he said that the rich man directly asked for 800,000 yuan, the whole room was silent. Matt was dumbfounded when he heard the price. He said that he had made a lot of money. The owner of the stall was furious and walked away. When David got home at night, he thought about what had happened during the day. He thought for a moment that it was unreal. What happened to his eyes? Why could he see through them? David was also This man is out of his mind. He only has $3,000, but he insists on bidding on an $8 million jadeite stone. His companion Matt rushed to stop him. What Matt doesn't know is that men are born with extraordinary pupils. He can see everything under the sun. He saw a flash of golden light in his pupils. The inside of the stone in front of him was clearly visible. The green emerald can be seen by his eyes. This is definitely a top quality raw stone, and its price is naturally very high. The starting price is already as high as 4 million, and every time a bidder raises the price, the bidder can't raise it less than $500,000. Even though David only had 3,000 on him, he didn't hesitate to bid 4 million. The rich man in the front seat couldn't help but taunt him, "Do you think you can get a piece of wool of this quality at the starting price?" At that moment the crowd started to raise the price. The original price of $4 million eventually soared to a staggering height, but then David raised his bidding card again and asked for 8 million. The room was silent. Matt almost fainted on the spot, but at this point the two of them are only worth 3,000. Even if they won the auction, if they couldn't get 2 inches of emerald out of the stone, they'd still lose everything. But David had a plan in mind. He expected the tycoon to keep raising the price, firstly to show off in front of his girlfriend, secondly in order to surprise suppress David's popularity. As expected at the last moment of the $8 million hammer, the tycoon made a shocking $9 million bid. Eventually the stone was auctioned off by the tycoon. David, who has golden pupils, will not go home empty-handed. He opened his golden pupils again. He scanned the whole field of jade and finally stopped his eyes on a piece of waste that no one wanted, because he realized that there was a jadeite hidden inside this piece of waste. So David paid $3,000 for this piece of junk that no one wanted. While David was studying how to cut the stone, the rich man from earlier came up to him. He said mockingly, "You should know that gambling is not like antiquing. It's not as easy as picking up a piece at the antique market." At this moment a senior in the jade industry came over. He took the stone in David's hand. Then he took out a searchlight and started to take a closer look. But after looking at the stone he frowned.